Welcome to the viewers for the lecture on reinforced concrete structures. In the last three lectures, 151, 52 and 53, we have been discussing about cantilever and then counterfort retaining wall. In the last lecture, that is 153, we have been discussing about the behavior of different components and design of a counterfort retaining wall. So counterfort retaining wall we are halfway through, but before starting I will just summarize a very few points so that there will be a continuity. Therefore, we have taken a design problem like this: a retaining wall of height 7.5 meters and retaining earth with the horizontal, backfill is horizontal. So other dimensions we need not discuss. And this is the cross section showing the dimensions of the retaining wall. So 0.2 meter is the designed thickness of the upright slab, and we have proportioned the other dimensions. So when you see the earlier lecture, you will know everything, but still just to briefly summarize and go fast. So the toe projection is 1.2 meter. There is a counterfort in the front side also. It is given that the retaining wall is supported by a front counterfort. So when front counterforts are provided, we have to design the toe slab as a continuous slab subjected to net upward pressure. When front counterforts are absent, the toe slab will have to be designed as a cantilever slab fixed with that of the vertical upright slab, as we have done in the case of a cantilever retaining wall. So the design is not new. So depending upon the presence or absence of front counterforts, so we have to design. Suppose if there are no front counterforts, it will be acting as a vertical, cantilever slab fixed with that of the upright slab, right? So that's about the dimensions. The length of the heel is 3.4 meters. Length of the heel is 3.4 meters. Pressure here is 39,667. So these data will be necessary for later design. So 39,667. All these things we need not come back. Just to recall and also to make you remember these values I am discussing. So this is the spacing of the counterforts is equal to 3 meters. Now here we are going to discuss the main counterfort, the front counterfort, connection between the counterfort and the upright slab, connection between the counterfort and that of the base slab, namely heel slab. This is what is pending, right? Therefore, we'll go to the next figure. So these things we need not discuss. This is about the reinforcement details we have discussed. Now for our design now, this figure is an important one. So here, say we have the plan on the right hand side. We know between the counterforts, the pressure is acting from left to right to left. Now the pressure acting from center to center of two counterforts and next center, from one center to other center, that is for a length 1.5 meter on either side, the pressure acting will try to cause a separation between the counterfort and the upright slab. So for which you have to provide a connection, that is what is called a horizontal stirrups, connecting to avoid separation between the counterfort, namely the support, and that of the upright slab. We have to provide horizontal stirrups. We are going to do it later. There the pressure here, all these things will be needed, right? And also the pressure from one center to the other center, that is 3 meters length of wall, 1.5 meter on either side, of course minus the width of the counterfort, minus the thickness of the counterfort. So 3 meters minus thickness of the counterfort. So in this length, whatever is the pressure acting on the base, on the upright slab, will be transferred to one counterfort. The counterfort will act as a vertical cantilever due to this pressure. So we are going to design the main counterfort as a vertical cantilever fixed with that of the base slab. One more point is that we will discuss when we take up the design. So these pressures acting will be needed. Right, now this is also needed. We are going to design this is the front counterfort. This is a front counterfort. So when we design the front counterfort, we know the front counterfort will also act as a cantilever fixed with the upright slab, subjected to net upward force. So what is the length of the base that will be transferring the load to one counterfort? So from one center to other center, that is at 1.5 meter on either side, will transfer the load to the counterfort. That will act as a cantilever. The cantilever will be subjected to a load from 1.5 to 1.5 plus 1.5, 3 meters length of the base, 3 meters length of the toe slab will transfer the load to one counterfort. The counterfort will act as a horizontal cantilever. Horizontal cantilever fixed with that other, because these figures and this pressure, if this is understood, design is nothing. Now what is the net pressure? What is the net upward pressure? Net upward pressure calculation is somewhere here. Yes. For the toe slab, the net upward pressure is equal to 131,655 Newton per square meter. So this you have to multiply by 3 meters length and 1.2 meter width of the, because we know the length of the toe slab is 1.2 meter. Width is say 3 meters center to center. 3 meters center to center. Therefore 131,655 into 3 into 1.2. That will be the total upward force. Right. So these values are needed. That is why I am just discussing all these basics. Now this is the heel slab details. So we know heel slab is subjected to net downward force. So 1.5 meter on the right hand side to the center of the main counterfort, 1.5 meter on the left hand side of the main counterfort will try to, because we know this is the counterfort, these are the counterforts, this is one counterfort, this is another counterfort. Right. Now between the adjacent counterforts, 1.5 meter, the load on 1.5 meter length of the heel slab on the right hand side, the load on 1.5 meter length on the left hand side, it is a downward force that will try to cause a separation between the counterfort and that of the heel slab. The heel slab will try to get separated from the counterfort because of this pressure acting over 3 meters minus, of course, minus the width of the counterfort. So to connect them, we have to provide vertical stirrups. So therefore the net downward pressure in the heel slab will also be important. We know the net downward pressure is, yes, net downward load on the heel slab is, therefore we need not repeat all these things again, we need not come back. So just to approximately remember the values. So 67,489 is the net downward load per square meter. So that is about the net downward force on the base slab. Right. Now up to this we have completed in the earlier lecture. Up to the design of the heel slab we have completed. Now we have to continue from this point. We have 4 items. So of which the first item is, say, let us say it is the design of the front counterfort, right? And the theory is not necessary, because the front counterfort will act as a cantilever beam fixed at the junction. All these things we have discussed. 1.5 meter length on either side will transfer the load to the counterfort, right? So this is the pressure diagram. Also we know the maximum pressure at the heel toe end is 144,155. Right. Now we are going to design the front counterfort as a horizontal cantilever subjected to net upward force. Right. So the pressure diagram will cause an upward force, and about the fixed end this is going to cause a clockwise moment. So clockwise moment due to PQTS. You can see the pressure diagram. PQTS is a rectangular pressure diagram with a value equal to 124,119. So 124,119 is the upward pressure per square meter into 1.2 meters is the length of the cantilever into 3.3 meters slab will transfer the load to one counterfort into 3. So 124,119 into 1.2 into 3, that is the total upward force, into 1.2 by 2, because it is a rectangular pressure diagram. So into 1 point, that is at the center of gravity. So that will cause a clockwise moment in the front counterfort. Another value TRS. TRS is a triangle. So area equal to half into base into height. So the difference is 20,036. Therefore half into 1.2 into 20,036 into length is 3 meters. So that is the total upward force. So that about the fixed end, the center of gravity, distance of center of gravity will be 2/3 of 1.2. So 2/3 of 1 point. That will give the clockwise moment due to the triangular pressure diagram. So that is, so these two values. Then the self weight will cause an anti-clockwise moment. So self weight is 1.2 meter length of the cantilever, 3 meters length of slab into, that is the area, into thickness 0.5. So that will give the volume of concrete. Density of concrete is 25,000. So that will give the weight of concrete, and that will be acting at 1.2 by 2. So that is 27,000 Newton meter. So that is anti-clockwise moment, because we know, and as per the figure given on the right hand side, it's a cantilever fixed at the point P, subjected to net upward pressure. So that will cause a clockwise moment. Therefore that is equal to, the net moment equal to 26,9948.88 Newton meter. So this is the moment. Let us assume the width of the front counterfort, that is in the length direction, the width of the counterfort is 400 mm. It is assumed as 400 mm. So for M20 concrete, so this is our usual design procedure. For M20 concrete and Fe415 steel, we know moment of resistance equal to 0.138 FCK BD square. So equating the bending moment to the moment of resistance, that is bending moment, you have to multiply by the partial safety factor that you missed, 1.5 times the moment, that is equal to 404923.32, right? So equating bending moment to the moment of resistance, we find out the depth of the counterfort. We are getting 606. I told earlier that front counterforts need not be designed or provided for the entire height. We are going to design it. Now this is the depth of the counterfort at the upright slab section. So D equal to 606. Let us assume an overall depth of 800 mm. So effective depth is equal to, here we have to remember one point in finding out the effective depth, where we can provide the main steel for the front counterfort. So that effective depth is equal to, so 800 is the overall depth that we have assumed. Already we have provided the main reinforcement for the toe slab at the bottom. That is the circles 16 mm diameter. So that is the main reinforcement for the toe slab, on the top of which we have provided the distributors. Distributors is of 12 mm diameter. Only on the top of this we will be able to provide the main reinforcement, because it is going to act as a cantilever and the main steel will be at the bottom. At the bottom straight away you cannot provide it a 60 mm cover. Already we have the main reinforcement and distributors for the toe slab, only on the top of which you have to provide the reinforcement. Therefore, the cover calculation here is very important. So effective depth is equal to 800 minus 60 mm is the effective cover, plus half the diameter of the main bar of the toe slab, 16/2, plus 12, that is all these things are minus from 800, right? So 12 mm diameter is a distributed diameter, on the top of which we are going to provide a 20 mm diameter bar. 20/2 will be the distance up to the center of the main reinforcement for the front counterfort. So this calculation is very important. Sometimes this will be given as individual lines, 4 or 5 lines in a book, so that you must be able to understand. And once so this is an important calculation, and other things are as usual, mu equal to 0.87 Fy, all these things, finding out the area of steel, for the bending moment. So because bending moment is 4049 something, and the area of steel is equal to 1822. Already we assumed 20 mm diameter bars whose area of cross section is 314 mm square. Therefore, let us provide 6 bars of 20 mm diameter, so that 6 into 314 will be 1884. What is required is 1822. We have provided 1884 mm square. The thing is, we have to accommodate this 6 bars within a width of 400, because we know the width of the front counterfort is only 400 mm. So 400 mm we cannot provide 6 bars in a single row. Therefore, we provide the bar in 2 rows. So 6 bars of 20 mm diameter will be provided in 2 rows, 3 in each row. So that is. Then distribution steel. Distribution steel of the toe slab, 2 rows of counterfort bars. So the main bar is in the longitudinal direction of the, that is for the toe slab at the bottom. It is in the longitudinal direction, on the top of which you are going to provide the distributors in the horizontal direction. In the same direction, on the top we are going to provide 2 layers of main bars. So you will have to take suitable precautions when we arrange the reinforcement one over the other. So that is what is mentioned in the paragraph. And next is that of the design for shear. So coming to shear at the support. At the support means at the right end of the toe slab. So the net upward pressure, upward soil pressure is equal to, on one side it is, at the free end it is 144, 155. At the point P it is 124, 119. Average pressure, that is by 2 plus into 1.2 into 3 meters. So what is the total upward pressure? Total upward force is equal to 3 meters length, 1.2 meter width into average pressure. Right. Downward load is the self weight of the toe slab. That is 1.2 meter length into 0.5 thickness into 3 meters length. 3 meters length into 25,000. That is the downward force. So upward force minus downward force will give you the net shear force. This is the shear force for which you have to design the front counterfort. Factored shear is equal to 1.5 times its value. Then IS code gives the procedure for the design of shear. Once you find out the factored shear, right, even for factored shear 1.5 is given in the IS code, right. After finding out the factored shear, so we have to refer to I think page number I'll subsequently tell you, table number 19 of IS 456 gives you the allowable shear stress. For allowable shear stress, so first one is that of nominal shear stress. That is, we have got the net shear force. So net shear force by area. Area is 400 into 710. 800 is the overall depth, 700 is the effective depth, 710. So 400 into 710, VU by B into small d as per the code. So that is the shear stress due to the force. So what is the allowable shear stress? Allowable shear stress depends upon the grade of concrete and the percentage of reinforcement. So percentage of reinforcement is, we have provided 1884 mm square by 400 into 710. So for an area of 400 into 710, if area of steel is 1884, what is the value for 100? That is the percentage of steel. So between percentage of steel and the grade of concrete, table 19 gives you the allowable shear stress. So from table number 19, design shear strength is equal to, so you have to do interpolation. That is, for percentage of steel, 0.5 values are available, it is 0.48. For percentage of steel, 0.75 the value is available. Now our value is 0.66. So between 0.5 and 0.75 you have to interpolate, and that value equal to 0.53 Newton per mm square. Before designing the shear reinforcement, we know the concrete section itself will be able to take some shear force. So that is the shear that can be resisted by the concrete. So that is the shear capacity of the concrete. That is equal to tau c into BD. Tau c equal to 0.53, which you have got from the table, into B 400, into D 710 effective depth. So that gives 150520 Newton. So the shear force to be resisted, that is the factored shear, is 656839.8. So this is the shear force for which you have to design, of which 150520 is the shear that can be resisted by the concrete itself. So you have to find out the difference. Therefore, only for 506320 newtons we have to design the shear stirrups. So coming to stirrups, let us assume four-legged shear stirrups, of 10 mm diameter. Therefore, to find out the spacing of vertical stirrups, we have the formula. Spacing is equal to 0.87 FY D by VUS. This is again from IS, page number 73 of IS 456. Page number 73 of. So this formula is available. So all the notations are explained. So you might have used already, right? So 0.87 into Fy is 415 ASV. That is 4 legs are available at a cross section. Therefore 4 into area of each bar into D 710 by VUS. That is a net shear for which we have designed the stirrups. So that gives the spacing. So let us provide 4-legged shear stirrups at 140 mm center to center. So I am just giving the reinforcement one by one separately, so that this will help you to understand the individual reinforcement, because in a cross section it will be a congestion of lot of reinforcements. Understanding requires individual components, individual reinforcements. So that completes. So we have discussed the main reinforcement and also the shear stirrups. Again here, for holding the shear stirrups, at the top you have to provide some hanger bars. That is not designed. We have to provide for holding the vertical stirrups. So that is about the design of the front counterfort. Next is that of the design of the main counterfort. I told that one support, namely a front counterfort, a main counterfort is a support. So 1.5 meter length on other side plus 1.5 meter on this side, the center to center, will transfer the load to one counterfort. One counterfort. So the main counterfort will act as a cantilever, vertical cantilever fixed with that other base slab. But here one more point, because we have provided a front counterfort for a depth of 0.8 meter from the bottom, depth of the counterfort is 0.8 meter. So when we take the bottom, that is, the top of the slab, so the entire, because both counterforts are the same section, so entire 4.8 meters length we have concrete. So only from the top of the front counterfort the thickness is less, the width is less. Therefore, for the design, when front counterforts are provided, we have to take the top level of the front counterfort as the critical section for the design of main counterfort. So XX is a section, is a critical section for the design of the main counter, because below that you have concrete on both sides for the entire 4.8 meters, and gradually it decreases. So as far as the main counterfort is concerned, in the present situation the minimum width available is at XX minimum, that is highest depth, right. XX is a critical section. So at that section, what is the width of the counterfort? At the bottom it is 3.4 meters. 3.4 meters. So there it is 3.26 meters. 3.26 meters. So the main counterfort will behave as a vertical cantilever, will be subjected to the total pressure will be from 3 minus 0.4 meters. Already told. So the total horizontal pressure is equal to half into, that is Ka. Ka is 1 by 3 into gamma into h square by 2. Ka into gamma into h square by 2. So gamma is 17,000. H is 6.7, because we know the depth of the upright slab is 7 meters. Up to the critical section it is only 6.7 meters as shown in the figure. So 6.7. So 6.7 square by 2 into 3 minus 0.4 meter. That is subtracting the width of the main counterfort. Right. So that is the total horizontal pressure. The total horizontal pressure will be acting as at a height of one third from the base. That is 6.7 by 3 in this case. So that is the moment. That is the maximum moment. So factored moment equal to 1.5. Factored moment equal to 1.5. Now here, assuming an effective cover of 60 mm, the effective depth available equal to 3.26 minus 0.06 equal to 3.2 meters. 3.2 meters. Now here, the counterfort is actually a beam of decreasing width when you go towards the top. So the perpendicular distance we will have to consider in the design, or that is accounted by means of this tan beta. That is, we will be providing the steel at an angle of inclination. We are going to provide the steel along the slope of the cantilever on the right hand side. Therefore, so this secant beta, that is, we have to find out the inclination of the counterfort with respect to the vertical, that is beta. Beta equal to 3.2 by 7, because out of 3.4, 0.3 is the top width of the counterfort, so 3.2. 3.2 by 7 is tan beta. So tan beta. So beta will be used in the AST calculation. Therefore, that inclination of the reinforcement is accounted here. So mu equal to, so area of steel, you are going to find out using this formula, usual formula. So we know the bending moment, equating the bending moment to the moment of resistance, steel formula 0.87 Fy etc. You find out the area of steel. So this will not require any explanation. So area of steel is equal to 974 mm square. 974 mm square if it is a vertical steel. Now here the steel is at an angle of beta inclination. So AST into secant beta will give you the area of steel along the inclined direction. AST into secant beta. So 974 into 1.0995 is equal to 1071. 1071 mm square is the area of steel required, that is main steel required for the main counterfort. So, but minimum steel is 0.2%. Minimum steel is 0.2%. So that is for the counterfort. So 0.2 by 100 into width is 400 and the depth at that section is 3260, and because it is at an angle of inclination into cos beta. So that is equal to 2372 mm square. Therefore 1071 mm square will not be sufficient. You have to provide the minimum steel. Minimum steel is 2372 mm square. 2372. Therefore let us provide 8 bars of 20 mm diameter in 2 layers. Again it is 400 mm. You cannot accommodate 8 bars in a row, then you will not be able to do the concreting. Therefore provide the 8 bars in 2 layers. 2 layers as a main reinforcement for the main counterfort. So this bar will be provided like this. So this is the main reinforcement. You can see the main reinforcement, counterfort, main reinforcement, 20 mm diameter, 8 numbers at the bottom. Again, this is calculated, this bending moment is calculated considering height of 6.7 meters. Therefore, when we go towards the top, the pressure will go on decreasing. So this much of reinforcement is not necessary. So you can go for curtailment of bars. So curtailment of bars, it will be given by H1 square by H square or H2 square by H square. That is, if H is the height at which you provide 8 bars, and if H2 is the height at which only 4 bars are sufficient, then according to the formula, H2 square by H square equal to 4 by 8. If you have provided 8 bars at the bottom of H and up to the level of H2 from the top, 4 bars are sufficient. 4 bars are sufficient. So using this formula, or you can use 2 at the bottom, 1 at the 50%, that also you can use. So H equal to 4.74 meters. That means from 0 to 4.7 meters from the top, 4 bars will be sufficient. Remaining depth 4.74 meters up to 6.7 meters, you have to provide 8 bars. Therefore we need not provide the bar over the entire depth. So that is what it is shown at the top, say 20 mm diameter bars, 4 numbers. At the bottom it is 8 numbers. So this shows the main reinforcement for the main counterfort alone, showing the reinforcements individually. Right. Next is that of, yes. Next there are two connections. One is connection between the upright slab and the main counterfort. Because the lateral pressure acting on the upright slab will try to cause a separation between the counterfort and that of the upright slab, main vertical wall. So to connect them, you have to provide horizontal stirrups. So that is the theory is not necessary, already we have discussed. Horizontal pressure intensity at the critical section equal to horizontal pressure intensity is Ka into gamma into H. Ka is 1 by 3, gamma is 17,000 into 6.7. So many Newton per square meter. For 1 meter height of the counterfort, the tension transferred is equal to, that is, we consider the pressure at the bottom. Pressure at the bottom, that is at the critical section, is 37,967 Newton per square meter into, we are going to consider 1 meter depth. 1 meter depth. Coming to length, 3 meters minus the width of the counterfort, 3 minus 0.4. So that is equal to 98714 newtons. So this is the force transferred to one main counterfort from 3 minus 0.4, namely 2.6 meters length of wall at the critical section. Right. So this multiplied by the partial safety factor will give you 148071 Newton. So this is direct tension. It is trying to cause a pull at the junction between the upright slab and that of the counterfort. It is going to cause tension. It's a direct tension. Direct tension. So area of steel equal to tension divided by sigma st. That's all. Tension divided by sigma st equal to 148071 divided by 0.87 Fy. 0.87 Fy, we know the partial safety factor for material, namely for steel, it is 1.15. So if Fy is the yield strength, Fy by 1.15 will be the value after applying the partial safety factor. So Fy, so that is Fy by 1.15 is given as 0.87 into Fy, that is the stress in steel. So that gives area of steel equal to 410 mm square. Again, providing this in the form of two-legged 8 mm diameter, two-legged horizontal stirrups. Two-legged horizontal stirrups will be connecting the upright slab and the main counterfort. So spacing equal to, so 2 times area of the main steel, 2 into 50.26 into 1000 by AST required. AST required is 410. So that gives 220 mm center. So 8 mm diameter, two-legged horizontal stirrups connecting the main reinforcement, main counterfort and that of the upright slab will be provided at 200 mm, 220 mm center to center. So you can see the figure. So this shows the connection of main. So of course here we have shown the vertical reinforcement also. Now you concentrate only on the main reinforcement of the upright slab, main reinforcement of the main counterfort and connecting horizontal stirrups. Vertical stirrups are yet to be designed. So this is one connection. Another connection is the connection between the heel slab and the counterfort. That is these are the vertical stirrups. We know that the heel slab is subjected to net downward force. We can forget about all these theories already we have discussed. So considering, I'll explain when we come to the numerical value. So considering 1 meter wide strip of the heel slab near the heel end, because it is subjected to net downward pressure, even when the backfill is at an angle of surcharge, an angle of inclination, the largest depth will be at the free heel end. Coming to the upward pressure, the net upward pressure is minimum at the heel end. Therefore, maximum downward force is at the heel end, minimum upward pressure is at the heel end. The heel is going to be subjected to net downward force. Therefore, the critical section will be the heel end. So consider 1 meter width of the heel slab near the heel end. Say here, the net downward load already we have seen 67,480. In the design of the heel slab we have got this value 67,489. So this downward force will cause a tension or will try to separate the main counterfort and that of the base slab. Therefore, the tension caused in the counterfort is 67,489. Width direction we are considering 1 meter. In the length direction it is 3 minus 0.4. 3 minus, accepting the width of the counter fort. Right. So this value equal to 175471.4 newtons. So factored tension is equal to, multiply this by the partial safety factor, you get 263,207.1. So this is the factored force for which you have to design. This is the factored tension that is caused in the main counter fort at the junction of the main counter fort and that of the heel slab. So this will try to cause a separation. So they have to be connected. Right. Now that is the force. So vertical steel required for this direct tension is equal to the tension divided by sigma st, direct tension. Tension divided by sigma st. So tension is 263,207.1. Sigma st is 0.87 times 415. That is 415 by 1.15. That is equal to 729 mm square. So providing this again in the form of 8 mm diameter, 2-legged vertical stirrups. Spacing is equal to area of bar available in every cross section is 2 times 50.26, 2 into pi by 4 into 8 square into 1000 by AST required. AST required is 729. So that is equal to 138 mm. So let us provide 2-legged 8 mm diameter vertical stirrups at a spacing of 120 mm center to center. This is the vertical stirrup connecting the counter fort and that of the yes. Now we can see the vertical stirrups, 8 mm diameter, 2-legged vertical stirrups at 120 mm center to center. The horizontal stirrups are connecting the upright slab and that of the main counter fort. That is provided in the form of 2-legged horizontal stirrups of 8 mm diameter at a spacing of 220 mm center to center. So that completes the design of the counter fort retaining wall. So counter fort retaining wall is a lengthy design, and I have not given the complete reinforcement details. Of course, if you have an idea about say the so main number one, it requires number of designs, but examination, if it is a full design and drawing problem, they will ask complete design and a complete drawing. Now, present Anna University students will have only any one component. They may ask, design the base slab, design the toe slab, design the main counter fort and draw the reinforcement details, design the vertical wall and show the reinforcement details, proportion the wall and do the stability analysis. So everything will not be asked. It is not possible because this will require some 3 hours for doing the design, complete design. Complete design is not possible. Therefore, so if it is given as a single question in a full paper consisting of 5 full questions, then any one component will be asked. Only thing is the viewers will have to know if a particular design is required, what are the details that are required from the earlier part of the design. What you have to find out, you need not design all the components. If the design of the heel slab alone is required, you need not remember the complete data, or we need not do all the designs. So where we have to start? What are the details that are required from the early part of the design? Take that part and directly go to the design. So that one must be familiar. So it is a lengthy design, and so I have not given the complete reinforcement in a single drawing. I have given the individual reinforcement, main reinforcement, distributors for the upright slab, midspan section, counter fort section, toe slab reinforcement separately, heel slab reinforcement separately, connecting stirrups, the front counter fort separately. This is the only connecting stirrups I have given. The main reinforcement on one side of the So this is again a part. This is again a part. If you assemble all the drawing that you have discussed, this is main reinforcement for the main counterfort. So like this, you have to assemble everything, but you have a knowledge of these reinforcement details. This is for the front counterfort. Here also we have to add the main reinforcement distributors for the toe slab. That is not shown here. So if you have to assemble everything, all these things, when assembled, you will get a complete idea. When you see the cross section, you will have this problem also. Main diameter, main bar, distributors, main reinforcement for that front counterfort. You will have number of layers that requires understanding. If these diagrams are individually understood, the design will not be a problem, or understanding any drawing. All these cross section, everything where we have to provide the steel, everything you have to remember. So this will be required for understanding the longitudinal section. So yes, this is for the toe slab. This is for the upright slab. This is the cross section. Cross section, we have shown only the main reinforcement and its location. Then distributors we have to draw. So if we assemble all these, understanding any full drawing will not be difficult. So it requires design of number of components. When a particular component alone is asked, we must understand the full design and find out what details are required for the design of a particular component. That alone you must be able to do it and straight away do that. We need not do the design right from the top. When heel design is asked, you need not take everything from the upright slab. So what informations are required? That alone, how to calculate and how to directly start the design of the heel slab or toe slab, like that. So I think that completes the design of the counterfort retaining wall. As I could not just write and discuss as we have done in the case of analysis, because the design runs for 20 pages in the sheet, so it will require some 4 or 5 hours if I want to just do it. I hope viewers will be getting the benefit. And of course, if you have any difficulty in understanding the design like this in the form of PDF, if you have got any difficulty in understanding, as usual you are sending comments regularly. Some of you can send me the comment, so that in the further lectures, even if it requires more time, I will go for the writing mode. So with this I will complete this lecture on design of counterfort retaining wall with this. So thank you for your cooperation. Thank you.